Yeah, good morning, my people. Thank you very much for this very day. We thank God for all what we experience on daily basis. Today is Saturday, a very good day, and we believe that God is going to be our guide, our protector in all what we are going to do. Today we have something very good, something wonderful for our consumption on news today. There's a very wonderful piece that was sent to me just this morning. This is so wonderful. I was happy to read it, and I believe that each one of you will be happy to hear what is written therein. As a matter of fact, this is one of those things we think that makes the Biafran people wonderful. People who can think so adequately, people who can be so wonderful in their articulation. We are very wonderful people, and this should make us happy. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to play you this very wonderful piece so that we hear it all together. It is titled The Biafra We Need. Biafra is a state of being. It's a wonderful piece. It has everything to do with what we should be thinking and looking for in Biafra. This piece is going to make you feel happy after you hear it. But although it is easier said than done, it is advisable that each one of us start thinking about what you are going to hear now. Please do all you can in any way to share it further, because it's important that each one of us, all the Biafrans, at least we hear this piece. It's very, very wonderful piece. I'm going to shoot it out now for your consumption. Here we go.
Need. Biafra is a state of being. Until we have achieved that state of being, the desired geopolitical region remains at risk. So we must pursue both tasks. And the state of being is as follows: we have to do as the Catalonians do in Spain. When they realized that the Castellanos, Madrid, will never voluntarily or easily give them independencia, the Catalonians, Barcelona, decided to turn inwards and develop their region technologically, economically, and infrastructurally, and now they are the economic powerhouse of Spain. The same thing is with Bayern in. When Germany was declaring itself as a nation, Bayern, Bavaria, had the choice to stay out and be a country on its own, like Austria did. Instead it opted to stay within a greater Germany and become its best part. Today Bavaria is the most technologically and economically powerful region in Germany, and it has the whole of Germany now as its primary and biggest market. The same thing is with California in the USA. It's not only the biggest economy within the US, it's also the sixth largest economy in.
Sorry for that stop there. We're going to come back to the news. It's our machine. We're sorry about that. Right now we're back again to the news for you.
The world. However, this is only because it is within the US and can leverage on all the synergies that come with that it can be so powerful. If it were suddenly to try overnight to stand alone, as a competitor against the rest of the US, things would not be so easy. Nigeria does not fear IPOB as it is. In fact, they want IPOB to challenge them, so they can militarily wage war on the Igbos. IPOB at present is not the Biafra that Nigeria fears. They fear the Biafra that becomes like Catalonia, like Bavaria, like California. That's the Biafra they fear. So they need this militant IPOB to give them an excuse to come and reduce Ala Igbo to a wasteland again and turn back the hands of our clock once more to zero, like they did in the last.
So what is happening here is a description of what exactly we should be looking at. Bayern was the Bavaria in German here, and also you have California in America as an example, and also other countries, the Catalonians in Spain, who are also looking to break out. But when it's not possible, you look inward, try to develop your own area, and this is to make us know that the Biafra Nigeria will be afraid of is the one that will grow to be a powerhouse inside Nigeria than the one we are trying to create. It will only take them time to dismantle that, and then we are back to zero. Let's continue before we deliberate to hear exactly what this write-up says.
Civil war. Even if we don't want and don't start any hostilities, they will use the slightest excuse or provocation or accident to send in their troops. Britain will support them, and in the end USA will establish a military base in Igbo land to keep the peace. And that is how we will become occupied territory. We have to be smart and shift the battle to the field where we can win. What I am saying is this: yes, we will continue to ask for referendum, like Catalonia does in Spain, like Scotland does in Great Britain. But it is not referendum that will give us the Biafra we need. And of course it is not guns that will give us Biafra, that we know. As Igbos, we have to conquer our chronic individualism, and we have to pool our wealth, intelligence, and efforts together to turn Ala Igbo into a first world region, right here and now. But this is the most difficult thing for us because we're nationalists. It is easier to protest. The second point is, our governors. As much as we don't like them, we have to work on them and with them. If IPOB mobilizes the...
Sorry, but I think we better pay great attention to this very part of this write-up, because this is the wheel that can help us achieve what we are looking for. The governors, what we have to deal with, instead of dealing with the federal government, how we have to turn inward and start dealing with ourselves, starting from the people who are right there representing us. We don't care where they're representing us on, meaning we don't care their dealings with Nigeria. We are only interested in when they say they are for Nigeria and they get their share of the Nigerian cake, whatever that share is, we will hold them accountable when they come back home to do what we want them to do. We don't care whether the federal government says they do it or not, but we hold them to ransom to do it. Then they will have that strength to get it for us done. Let's keep on listening to this, because this is a very clear, articulated plan on how we can get ourselves right, even as we await Biafra. So I would like to go again from where it says they talked about the governors, our governors. The second point. Let's go there right away.
The second point is, our governors. As much as we don't like them, we have to work on them and with them. If IPOB mobilizes the people against the governors, the same way it is mobilizing them against the federal government, you will see how fast things will change. What will the governors do? Start shooting their own people? If any governor does that, where will that governor run to hide from the people's revenge? They have nowhere to hide.
If we hold our own governors responsible or accountable for what they did not do for us, if we, like when those deaths are like what I said a long time ago, Like when our people were crying, the Hausa henchmen, they are killing us. We are seeing pictures of dead bodies all over the net. I said it. I said, if our people will hold our own governors responsible, carry all these dead bodies, there are families who are mourning. These are families, these are communities, these are people. Gather all of them and go, carry it. We have to break that yoke. We have to have a revolutionary mood upon our governors, not upon Nigeria. These are the people who we send there to represent us, to get what we want for us. They are the people who are answerable to us. We put them on a hot seat that they will, even if they can't get it done through Nigeria, then they will be demanding the same thing we are demanding. But first of all, we have to turn inwards. That's what all this is all about. All these protests, all this anger, if it is channeled on this, our representatives in their offices, carry the dead bodies, leave it in their houses, do the unthinkable, show our anger on our representatives. That's what we're talking about here. We continue.
If the people are united, and IPOB can unite the people because IPOB is very powerful, they must start demanding accountability from every elected official in the Southeast. Demand that they invest in infrastructures.
That is it. We have to shout on their head, not shouting on our streets, but we have to pinpoint those locations where we have to carry our grievances to. And it is on our elected officials.
Roads and transportation. Potable water. Drainage systems. Housing. Health. Education. Tax breaks for small businesses. Regional economic integration. Constitute expert groups across every field from within and the diaspora to develop and advise on the framework for regional development. Instead of going to Abuja, the governors should come together, put money together from their budget and start building a second Niger bridge.
That is what I'm talking about. Instead of demanding everything that Abuja does it for us. Who are these our governors? If we need a Niger bridge, it's a Niger bridge that will lead to all the states we have. So why don't the governors come on together? How is this Niger bridge? Bridges are, come and see the kind of bridges are just nothing. It's nothing. That Niger bridge should have a lot of crossovers, not even second Niger bridge. There are supposed to be 10 Niger bridge. A lot of crossover from all angles. You can't have it to just one way direction to cross over if we really need that crossover in the first place. If we're not talking about the Niger bridge, there are other descriptions here now. You also hear that these are the things that the governor should come together and put their money together, call on our millionaires who will also do the same. When we start doing that, even those in Hausa, even those at home, even those who are investing other places in the world, we want to come back home. But it starts from holding the right people accountable, not Nigeria, but our elected officers, the people we hand over to Nigeria. If they cannot do it, that means then they will recognize themselves that the Nigeria is not workable when they cannot sit at home properly because they demand what we have sent them there to do. We continue.
Start dredging the river Niger at Onitsha. Start developing the dry port at Abia. Start now and make it mandatory that every Southeast governor prioritize regional integration. Taxes and tariffs for business must come down to encourage investors. Asterisk Computer Village in Lagos is full of Igbos. The governors and leadership should put their monies together and build Technology Town in Aba. Follow up on Geometrics Power Project in Aba by Professor Barth Naji, with a view to completely electrifying Ala Igbo. Put their money together and elevate Enugu Airport to a level higher than Lagos or Abuja Airport. Things like that. developing the Owerri Airport to a full international cargo airport and take advantage of the central location of Owerri in the southeast. Quality educational institutions are lacking in the East even though we constantly produce the highest number of applicants to universities. Let us build more by collaboration with our foreign diaspora. They're the best in many parts of the world. Let's harness this advantage. We need a Igbo. We can achieve that without the federal government, because we own trading.
Yes.
Encourage our diaspora to work with government to establish and run quality world-class healthcare institutions in all Igbo. IPOB has already come up with a blueprint for an Igbo-wide democratic customary government, the people's government, very Republican in nature, and this is good.
Yes.
This is power. Ironically, it might even be according to the Nigerian constitution. If peacefully achieved, this can be the leverage with which to control the elected executive and legislative levels, if Nigeria stays together. And if Nigeria falls apart, then automatically we already have a framework state in operation. However, IPOB must win Igbo people over by championing their welfare with their own governors and officials. Threaten them with no re-election and criminal prosecution if they fail to serve their people. They must also encourage the training, standardization, integration, and sharing of information by the different state security groups to stamp out crimes like robbery, kidnapping, human trafficking, etc. We are Igbo. We are in the communities and we know those who are into crime. People must start explaining their sources of wealth.
Very important.
IPOB can utilize its huge following to ensure crime is wiped out and good governance is entrenched in the southeast. Then IPOB and possibly now would ever be remembered kindly by history.
Nnamdi Kanu has the power right now. Nnamdi Kanu can do himself and the Biafran people and the world in general the best thing that will ever happen by channeling this very energy, this very to the right cause. It is easy for him to galvanize a solidified movement that will hold accountable anybody who is representing us in any capacity. The movement of Biafra today can hold any Igbo man responsible if we organize ourselves. So we should not even be afraid to send our people to represent us in Nigerian government. If we take the advice here by looking inward first, understanding that the best thing for us to do first of all is to show the world that there is something different with these people called the Igbos or the Biafrans. And you don't show it with nothing. You show it by something that is there, something that people are seeing. When they come into this town called the Igbo people's town, the difference needs to be there. And by holding our people accountable, our representatives to build infrastructures that are meant for the people, you will see private and the enterprise will come in for investment, and our land will look like that sample, the engine room of that Nigeria. Like this post, this very write-up will go on to explain to you what that will mean if we are inside Nigeria and if eventually Nigeria breaks out tomorrow. Which we know, it doesn't stop us from demanding a referendum. Catalonia doing what they are doing, it's not stopping them from demanding their freedom. As we demand for our referendum, as we demand to be Biafrans, we should be practicing and putting in place a system that will help us guide ourselves at any time it becomes possible. Because it must be possible that we will become our own nation. But the essence of organizing, arranging, and understanding how to govern ourselves, how to build up ourselves, how to develop ourselves from this very time on is going to make it difficult for us to adequately run as a true peaceful nation Biafra. We continue.
If we are doing things like all these, Arwa will not need to issue quit notice.
Yes.
And Igbo will come back in droves to build up all Igbo.
Yes.
Is it beyond the Igbo to venture into modern and very lucrative cattle rearing and be the leaders in all of Africa? Are we not known to come late into any venture and excel beyond those in it for centuries? The governors in Ala Igbo should as a matter of urgency introduce ranching across Ala Igbo for prospective and enterprising *Igbo cattle farmers, after which they will enact, implement, and execute anti-open grazing laws in their states, then call on all indigenes and state security groups to participate in monitoring its implementation. This will empower all Igbos and we will rid ourselves of these Fulani herdsmen in no time. This is priority. Every passing day is too much. Ikiti state did it. Bainway state has done it. It's not impossible. Why cannot the states of the southeast all do it as one? Anti-grazing law. This will shake the Nigerian government more than asking for referendum. IPOB has power. If they use it wisely, they can bring about tremendous change in Ala Igbo without a single bloodshed.
And it's true.
They are uniquely positioned by God at this period in time to use their massive following and break the individualistic Igbo trait to bring about change that will positively shape Igbo history for generations.
It's true.
If they misuse it by going the route of war, that didn't work decades ago, then it would be a great loss indeed. If Nigeria stays together, Ala Igbo can become the most advanced region of Nigeria if we start now. If Nigeria breaks up, we have to be ready to survive on our own.
That is it.
And at this moment, we are not yet ready. This is where we need to put our eyes into. Because the ball is already rolling. What we want is for people to come and start investing in Ala Igbo, from all over the world.
Yes.
They will do this massively if they see the political will and infrastructures being laid down in Ala Igbo.
Yeah.
If that happens, everybody will protect Igbo land. Biafra will grow from within.
Yeah.
Let Nnamdi Kanu, all Igbo leaders and thinkers read this and run with it.
Please, everybody.
I'm sending this to you so you can spread it to Igbo who are amongst your contacts so that this consciousness can spread and be built on. Let's develop Ala Igbo from within.
That is it. Please, if you are getting this message, if you are getting this very broadcast, please share it. If not for any other thing, for this very right up here, let people repeat it over and over. I know with only one reading might not get you completely hooked up with information right therein. It's a thing that we really need to go through and think about growing ourselves from within. As we are going through the election process, as we are going through our struggle and search for Biafra, asking for referendum, we should start building ourselves from within. Share this message, go through it, try to understand it, read it 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and make sure you try to make sense of what is actually there. We believe that Biafra will come, and the Biafra we need is a Biafra that will come and stay in peace. And this is the kind of Biafra that is described here, a Biafra that is already made even before its arrival. Please, ladies and gentlemen, like we all keep telling you here in Africans Online, this is just about it. What you read here is just a sense of understanding that we need a new train, a complete new train. With what is here if we start working on it, which is a very plausible ideology and very workable, only the difference or the problem is just one thing. And it was also pointed out right there about our being so to ourselves, our believing and doing something just on our personal and with our personal selves alone. We are not communal. That is the only thing that can fail us on this very ideology. But every other thing about it is just easy, it's just plausible, it's just nice and wonderful. So if we can think about it, start thinking about our communal possibilities of working together, that will do us a very great help. So now we are continuing to another news, which is about the very unfortunate and very disturbing news, also the Enugu issue. Let's use our machine to read it out for you.
In another news, Iranian government to build hospital in Enugu.
That is it. Iranian government is to build a hospital in Enugu. Only the headline is troubling. Once you read it, you understand who the Iranians are, then you start to ask yourself, what has Iran got to do with Enugu when Nigeria is in contest? Have Iran finished with all his neighboring brothers? Because they are neighbors in as much as they can always identify themselves as the same people. An Iranian self, if they are black, can come and because they are all Hausa. You see some of them in Ghana and all these places. That is why they are always in majority, because they can change their make a cross country and come and vote. So we wonder why the Iranians would want to come and build a hospital in Enugu. But we have a very we are very much concerned about this. So we'll see what the information is all about.
The government of Enugu state just sealed an unnatural bilateral understanding with the Islamic State of Iran. The Iranian diplomat promised to commence the construction of Islamic hospital in Enugu, a gesture for which our governor was fulsomely thankful. This is especially curious and had given me a restless night. I was compelled to seek the counsel of wiser friends before venturing to leave a remark on the matter. One of such friends couldn't make a head and tail of the tangled up deal. He sought to know the medical record of Iran. It is obvious that Iran is not listed among countries revered for spectacular breakthroughs in medical science. Visibly disappointed, he asked how much it would cost the government of Enugu state in terms of resources to build a world-class hospital. It certainly. A more suspicious fact is why Iran bypassed sister states up north, who, terror-ravaged and illiterate, should be in dire, desperate need of such establishment. Your guess is as good as mine. The government of Enugu state is adventuring into a territory that frighten even angels. Iran is the only state in the world that pointedly, officially, and unapologetically sponsor terrorism and extreme organizations. Iran is yet to lose any opportunity to bolster the fighting spine of terrorists and Islamic jihadists. That is the supreme item of her foreign policy. According to the CIA chief Mike Pompeo, Iran is the world's largest state sponsor of terror. Who knows the cruel trick up their sleeve this time? It is not unreasonable to speculate that this might be a smart ploy to infiltrate Enugu and seize it as an invasion base against the Christian South. Such ugly possibility cannot be completely ruled out. May God shield his sons and daughters from the backlash of Rehoboamic administrative decisions. Circulate to create awareness. We are in trouble.
Okay, that is about the deal struck by the Enugu government or governor with the Iranians. and it's about building a hospital for Ross in Enugu, which I don't understand. Everybody is perplexed by this very information. It's worrisome, like I've said. It's troubling to have this kind of deal on the ground in our place. We ask the question time without number, why should it be in our place? Why these people don't see their brothers, the people who they have more relation to do this. So that is by the way. We continue on another front. This is another news. This is a press release about the ongoing hassles on the Enugu election. We all know that we have a mixed messaging. There's a mixed message there going on right now about whether people should vote and whether people should not. And this is a press release now, press statement coming from the indigenous people of Biafra, and it is signed by the Directorate of Information. Ndubisi signed this very press release or press statement about further development on the Anambra election. So let's go to it.
Press statement. Further clarification on Anambra election. It has become necessary to Anambra 2017 election is not customary government of IPOB project. It is important.
Sorry there. So we are going to take that again for you.
To inform our followers and
we're going to take that. This announcement is from the IPOB under the Supreme Council of Elders, and this is a statement from an official statement anyway. Let's take it.
It has become necessary to clarify that Anambra 2017 election is not customary government of IPOB project. It is important to inform our followers and supporters that our eyes are on the ball. Biafra. The success or failure of November 8th election will not stop the Biafra project.
Yeah, let's go on.
In the last few days, many have called the information desk of CGIPOB, trying to establish our link with UP and our candidate for Anambra election. CGIPOB, as a Biafran de facto institution, will all party or aspirant who can publicly identify with Biafran ideology. However, CGIPOB shares common interest with an organization called MOBIN. MOBIN has an understanding with UP. The CGIPOB is currently reviewing the relationship between MOBIN and UP and may take a position in no distant time. It is expected that the interest of Biafran people should be guided closely in any engagement with anybody. Therefore, CGIPOB will continue to explore all avenues to ensure that our collective quest for self-determination is not truncated by political hawks and traders who believe that anything is purchasable. Once again, we want to assure you that nobody stops a moving train, mostly when the train is being driven by ideologically minded driver. For now, CGIPOB is setting up community government while corroborating with other pro-Biafran groups to keep the Biafra ship afloat. The Office of Information Director at CGIPOB shall continue to update you as we sojourn to the Promised Land.
Yeah, that is the press release there. It's as if the indigenous people of Biafra under the Supreme Council of Biafra, they are a little bit, like I myself, also skeptical about the relationship between now the UPP and the MOBI, which I have all the time been calling into question. It is okay to have people investigate and try to make sure of whatever they are doing or they are about to do on this very Biafran question. It's a difficult one. It's a move that has taken most of our time, taken lives, taken finance, taken everything, exhausted a lot of people. Most of our people are completely, not when you say people have run mad for the Biafran issue, you think it's just a kind of metaphor or something. We are talking about really crazy people who have been born out of the movement, and we don't know if we can get our brothers back again normal if all this come to an end. Likewise, we can't get people who are dead back again. That is why we are appealing to all our people to always take it easy, be calm, be courageous, and know that God's time is the best. After that very pre-statement, there is a follow-up reply to it from somebody who believes there should not be any election. Let's see just a reason to that.
And then someone replied, there is need for us to boycott Anambra state election, is to prove to the country Nigeria that we are not with them anymore, so the world will see it and know that we are determined on what we're doing and also vote on our side or come our and back Biafra referendum in Biafra land. If nothing happens after that, then we are going to do the same thing coming general election in Biafra land. Because when someone reject me, let him also reject anything to do with me. After you reject me and you go back looking for what belongs to me is bad. And
okay, now let's think about this very reply. It says it's good for us to boycott the election because we have to prove to the Nigerian that we are not with them anymore. So, and the world will see. And if nothing happens, we do it all over again. But that calls to question. Something must happen. That's why you really need to think about the consequences. That is what will happen. A consequence will follow. You only need to characterize or shape that to your own pleasure. If you want to cheat yourself, the way it will favor you. If you want to be realistic, you go deep down into thinking and try to sort out what might be the most dangerous consequence. If you come from the most dangerous and come out to where you can have a little bit room, then you can start to know that there are consequences like appointing an administrative government, maybe an interim government. Also, a lot of things might happen. We also will channel the Nigerian system of response into our thinking faculty here. The Nigerian system of response sometimes doesn't go according to law. They forget about all what is written in the Constitution. They forget about all how humanity does things, and they do their own thing the same way. So, and that very aspect of dealing always is sometimes is not predictable. It's unpredictable. You don't predict what their action might be. So that is why we are saying, before you say there is not going to be any election, there should be a boycott. You should think about the circumstances. You should be ready to have a preventive measure as to guide the people, because we are talking about loss of life here, and that is where we really don't want to go anymore. So we bring you to the end of today's edition, or to the end of this hour's edition, with just a conclusion, another write-up about the Ozoglo issue. We know people are still in mourning, people are still feeling it, people are still talking about it, people are still feeling completely overtaken by this outrageous occurrence. So let's see what someone else who is out there, a brother, sympathetic in mind. I've not read this anyway before I say what the conclusion might be, but I believe that each one of us talking to this respect when it comes to this church shooting should hold one another responsible, because as this very write-up goes to say, it is captioned, we all jointly bears the shooting. Yeah. We all bear the responsibilities. That's what it means, so we are going to bring it to you.
Is bad. And to another write-up on the church shooting. We all joined to church. When I was a child, I grew up among both churchgoers and pure idol worshippers. I had many family gods and shrines. Of course, the principal idol was stolen later on. One of the things I witnessed was that coins were always at the shrines. The society believed that the gods spent money, so they dropped coins for them, especially Asu. These monies were never stolen by the worshippers, though some of us later began to help the gods when we were taught in children department of the church that the gods are dead, and cannot spend money. African traditional society respected anything called sacred. Sacred animals were never eaten, sacred fishes were never caught in sacred rivers. Evil forests were never cultivated, and the priests were respected, their words were law, because the society saw them as spokespersons of the gods. The society had ways of dealing with various crimes. Good name was an asset. Ill-gotten wealth was not celebrated. Rather, a suddenly rich family is ostracized, and nobody wants to marry from there. This same allegiance was transferred to Christianity. The church was a holy place. Clergymen were highly revered and respected. In fact, in Yoruba land where we all prostrate for the kings, men of God are exempted. Old people, old enough to have the pastor as grandchild, all bow in reverence to honor the man of God. They never knew that the man of God could misbehave. He was seen to be talking with God, all the times. A time came the story changed. They began to catch clergymen with their wives, doing what only the heathen do. So, these men of God are ordinary. They began to see the anointed fighting the elders over salary, swearing in the names of gods of his village. Wayot. So, this white cassocks only cover dark hearts. They began to meet the men of God, buying drinks where they buy, and sometimes joining them at the joints. The curtain was removed, and the story changed. The church began to celebrate wealth without any regard for its source. What happened at the time of Emperor Constantine, that destroyed the first revival, keep repeating itself. Have you seen any church that suspended a political office holder, a millionaire, a highly placed wealthy man, a traditional ruler before? Oh sorry, they are saints now. It's only poor, average, struggling people that do violate the laws of God. I know some churches do, I know some pastors do, but they are in the minority. Many pastors only know the houses of rich members. They have their phone numbers, and are always available in case of any emergencies, but the poor are committed into the hands of God. After all, only God is the fatherless and husband to widows. Special offices are always created to make the rich happy. They don't even need to be punctual. Once their cash is punctual, God knows that they are busy. Why are we surprised at Oshabulo shooting? The gunman knew that he was not shooting inside church.
Yeah.
After all, it was built by their colleague, the source of wealth that they knew. They were even probably there the day of dedication, and even made donations while the arrays of God's servants showered blessings on them, and prophesied that they will keep progressing. God never spoke and prophesied that he hates their business, neither were they revealed by word of knowledge that they were evildoers. When business turned sour, they boldly took the fight to church. As for them, that is not a church. They know what a real church should be like. They know their colleague is not a church person. They saw that building as a normal business territory, not a house of God. Today, it's Oshabulu. Tomorrow, it's another place. Today it's another church. Is your denomination different? Are you different? Is your village different? Let us learn from this. Enough of worldliness and carnality. Like our ancient shrines, when the church was church, robbers were not carting the offerings and tithes away, they were not kidnapping the priests. Society respected the anointed, when the anointed used to respect himself. It's time to go back to Bethel. Our carnality done too much.
That's it. This is a very wonderful also that I just read and heard with you at the same time. It's a wonderful one that needs reflection. It has a lot to do with our inner thought, how we receive things, the things we receive, the things we say are good, and the things that we project as evil. So, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, I'm signing off for now, and we'll be back in a couple of some hours. It doesn't take me long to do that, to come online again with you, for you. But before we close, let's just give you one of those music that we made for ourselves, by ourselves, arranged, organized, and we're playing it for you here. There are no songs to them because they are instrumental, organized by our best people here in our workshop. Here we do a lot of things. Like we also told you last time, we are trying to establish relationship with firms here in the European world that are willing to do business in Africa. And fortunately, the good news is that we have gotten them. And we can proudly tell you that if you have in anywhere in Africa you wish to develop based on estate development, water and solar energy, Africa Online, Wachukwu and myself, I can always help Africa on a very good condition of contract, where the contract basis will be if you have a property, you will receive developers. Then you go on a 50-50 agreement. We have those possibilities, and if you are interested on solar energy, if you are interested in estate development, if you have the property, we have developers that are coming down from Europe, that will come down from Germany here to any part of Africa to develop with you on a very good condition. Solar energy, estate development, private houses. This company will work for government, they will work for individual companies, they will work for organizations, they will work for communities. So if it is a communal property, just say what you want, what the kind of investment, is it house development, develop it with their own fund and go on a 50-50 agreement with you. We have those possibilities, and we are making arrangements right now. We are in Angola, right now we are in Congo, and we are making arrangements to enter into Nigeria. And of course, Nigeria, we are thinking about Biafra land. So if you have properties that you wish to develop, the only thing you do is to make sure you have a standard land certificate. Make sure you have all requirements, all entitlements that position you as the rightful owner of that property. You have to have a company attached to it. Then we'll go on a partnership agreement with the company here in Europe. When we develop a partnership agreement, we come down to whatever nation it is in Africa for inspection and the signing of agreement. Then the company will come down and build, based now on a very satisfied terms of agreement. So ladies and gentlemen, this is all some of the jobs that Africans Online does here. We do this because we believe that the development, that's what we're talking about, building from inward, build from inside. If we can have communities in Africa, if we can have governors in Biafra land today, communities in Biafra land, companies in Biafra land, individuals in Biafra land who have properties to develop, please contact us. You have nothing to worry about, you have nothing to pay, only make sure that the property you wish to develop you have the correct entitlement to it, then we will bring the company straight to you, and we take it. So like we said, we have a lot of things we do here. We do children entertainment programs. We try to bring African children together here in the Western world to give them a platform to recognize themselves, to build up a stage for themselves. Because right here, our children are going to different schools. We are scanty in number. In a school of about maybe 2,000 people, maybe you have up to 10 black children, and these 10 black children might not belong to one class. That means they are. So our children are forced to making friends according to the children they meet in school and in their classes, giving them no opportunity to relate with other African kids. That is why African Online is bringing in a platform where our African kids, be them from Ghana, be them from Nigeria, Cameroon, Angola, from wherever, they can have that possibility to come together and relate with themselves together. We, the parents, are going to create that platform. That is why Africans Online have given that platform. We are going to, when the time will come for children talent shows, with which we are making arrangement now with our sponsors to provide gifts to present to these kids when they will be performing. All this is to keep our kids happy, bring them together, and also to boost their talents. Ladies and gentlemen, we end it so far for now. We'll be coming back in some couple of hours. Thank you and God bless.